What you're about to watch is the longer version of the unboxing and setup. This means that there is a little more personality to the video, and there is a little more helpful info in this video, at least compared to the shorter one. So if you're a less experienced drummer, or maybe are helping someone set this up, this is probably the video for you. But if you are an experienced drummer or have less patience, then maybe the other video may be for you. So with that being said, let's get to the recording. Hello everyone, and today we're going to be unboxing and setting up the Hampback ACE 301 kit, I believe, electric drum kit. So, let's just get right into it. The first thing is that the outer box is a little more beat up than the first one, but that is probably just down to the courier. Usually, we get two boxes here, so our actual product should be in a decent condition. I can say the tape was strong. I don't know if the courier opened this and then poorly resealed it or something, but yeah, it's a little beat up and the tape wasn't exactly where it should be. But, you know, there's lots of variables that can happen on why the outer box is the way it is. Because, you know, this didn't come from Amazon. I believe this is a very new set, so I haven't been able to find much marketing material, let alone listings and stuff, so I don't know as much about this kit as I did about the ultra beginner set that I did before. So I don't know how well you guys can see this, but we have the inner box, yeah, of course, you know, the actual product box in here. That's perfectly sealed, only a little dented at worst. Now, getting this whole box was kind of heavy, so I might have some difficulty getting this other box out, but it's not super tight, so hopefully it shouldn't at least stick. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to open this. I can't lift it with proper form. Oh, maybe I can. Let's do it this way first. Yeah, let's just... Okay, let's try and slide it. I'm going to try and slide it on the side here. There we go. Alright. Oh, it says this side up, so I gotta try and this like so. The inside of this box feels nicely packed. It doesn't feel like it was like it was wobbling around like in that other one. It was swimming just a little bit in the bigger box, but like I said, that comes down to the shipping people. So, you know, it could come down to your Amazon packer or whatever. But let's see how the actual product is now that we got all that out of the way. The tape is taped around all of the edges. So while that's annoying for unpacking, it's good for the safety of your product. Of course, because of the double layered up tape over here, it's gonna be a bit stronger. The box also feels like it's a little bit thicker and nicer, more sturdy than the outer box, so that's nice as well. So things are extremely neatly packed in here. Hopefully this camera can capture it, but yeah, everything is tightly packed with styrofoam and put in there very nicely. So it's very good to see. Nothing's going to be flying around, breaking itself somehow. On the top we have an owner's manual for the sound module and then a setup guide, so that's a good thing to find right on the top, of course. Sometimes some other more affordable companies, especially for furniture or other things that you need to set up, sometimes they legitimately just hide the instruction manual and you just can never find it. What I do know about this set is that it's meant to be a beginner going into intermediate set. So in this set they do give us some, these are actually Hampback branded drumsticks, 5A drumsticks. So on the ultra beginner kit, they were 7A drumsticks, but it was designed for children, so they probably wanted to go with the lighter ones, and they did not have a brand on it. Okay, so I assume these are the cymbal arms. I left my knife open on the floor. That's a horrible idea. Don't do that. Okay, cymbal pad, but this one looks like it's thicker. Oh Lord. Drum pad? Are you sure? Maybe this is the kick drum pad. Oh, the packing is too good. Drum pad. What am I looking at here? What in tarnation? Okay. I have to investigate for a second here. So whatever this is, it is very well protected in a completely enshrouded in foam. And then taped, sealed. And we have please release. Oh, it's got more tape on it, okay. Whoa, that's a lot beefier of a foot pedal. And I believe that this is going to be our hi-hat controller. The other ones on the other kit were very small, but it was designed for children. This one is pretty freaking big, but also this is the kick pad right here. So I don't know what that other long drum pad is yet. We have some. They put the plastic fasteners. They were loose in there, but they were protected they were protected on the sides by foam and then also concealed very tightly. So even though they are loose, they basically didn't move around. I didn't hear it at all while moving the box. So these were still in a good place. These also look very nice in terms of the molding and also the hardware just in general. Sound module, very important. Kick drum pedal, yes please. So one small downside is that this thing's got little pokes all over it. So as you can see right here, that's like the most major one. It poked through. It didn't completely break through. I don't know there is something there. I don't know what that is. It's also got a smaller indent on the other side, a bigger one right here. Otherwise, I don't see any more. But that's just a little strange. We'll see if it actually, resulted in any damage for any reason. Okay, so in the box it had this main assembly and it also had the beater loose. The beater has two hard plastic ends. It does not have a hard and a soft side, which is an interesting choice, but for me personally, I like the sound of hard beaters better, but also that does not matter when you're using an electric kit. However, I do think that a soft beater would probably be better for an electric kit because it may be a little less rough on the actual kick pad. And finally, we have this wide box that says stand. I will not stand. Yeah, it just says stand. I don't know if you can see that. And that was everything out of the main box here. Okay, so now we gotta figure out where we need to start, and that would be done in this manual here. Uh-oh. So it's one of these fold-out map style instruction booklets. I'm not a big fan. This is a bit weird. So I don't know if this is the same setup for multiple kits, because it says ACE 301 and ACE 307 here. Though it looks like they probably are exactly the same, except for maybe the module is different. Also, some of the pads are different. Looks like it has a nicer snare on the 307. That's alright. This pedal apparently has in between hi-hat controls. It has a half open sound. It won't have the complete dynamic full range, but it has a half opened hi-hat sound. So that's really nice to hear. And also apparently the pads are also decent as well. Step one is to assemble the rack. I would assume that the rack is in the stand box. Just being a little more difficult than the other one. Okay, let's see what we got here. So first of all, these were held. They had them in line, but they had these nice foam on there. It's not very sturdy foam that's like super hard, but it apparently got the job done because they were still in place until I took them out of the box. And it came with multiples of them. There's 3, so they have a lot of protection in here. It's good to see. There's a cardboard divider between these posts and the in-between parts of the rack, which also have the foam dividers, 3 of them as well. Very nice. So now I have to try and figure out which poles go where. Well, let's try and start with the center of the rack. So the center says that it has 2 of these grippy thingies, and also 1 without anything on it. And then these 2 go on the sides. So then I need one of these. There are drum key screws on here, the square heads, but I am unsure on if I have been given a drum key with the kit. I'm checking in the sound module box to see if it has other stuff in it, which it does, and they group the drum key with the cable ties, which is a little funny to me. And they also come in recyclable Ziploc bags, so you could actually use these bags somewhere else. They're not just tear open ones like like they normally are. I'm gonna put the sound module back for now. The drum key is this same sliding head version that was with the other kit, which I actually really like this. I'm honestly pretty happy to have 2 of them. I'm too happy to have 2 of these drum keys. Especially that I probably won't use them too often anyway, maybe in general use. I have a specialized drum key that helps keep tuning in check. It's not super advanced, so I have no idea if it actually is working, if it works or not. Plus I play at low tunings on actual drum kits, so they usually come loose pretty quick anyway. Okay, so one small thing, for some reason, the end topper for this pole came off. I can just stick it back on there, but that was just a little weird. Let's try and get this straight. It probably won't be for when I start out, but we can adjust it later. Right now we just need to get the main assembly done here. Something isn't right here. There are different lengths of pole. Okay, this one was the same height. So this one, I'm pretty sure these longer poles have to go in the middle. It's hard for me to tell exactly, but I am pretty sure, which is somewhat unfortunate because that means I have to just unscrew this, which took a little while, but I don't have to completely unscrew it. I can just get it loose enough that it can slide, hopefully. Alright, so pro tip. There are 2 different size poles. Longer ones go in the middle. At least I think so right now. Did that lid pop off again? It did. Come on. There we are. I did not do these the same way. God dang it. I should have flipped this top pole around. Probably still going to do it actually. I'm going to probably flip it around so that the adjustment is on the inside, which may end up being a bad thing, but my instincts of just setting things up tells me to make it on the inside so that's more adjustable when you're actually playing, if you needed to adjust it while playing, or your first time setups or any of that sort of stuff. I don't know how high this needs to be yet, so just trying to figure it out right now. Just trying to get this tightened. But these screws do have a decent bit of travel before they actually get tightened. Okay, so now we finally got the first main part done. Now we need to get the rest on. I have made a mistake. I was supposed to wait to put this one on, and I needed to put on like 2 of these. Oh my lord. They don't have super great instructions giving you pro tips on what to do first. It just says, basically, in just a picture, put all of the rack together, and also make sure you have like some of that plastic hardware on there. Can I actually put that on there without... Okay, so these have hinges, so you can take them all the way out and then clamp them on without having to slide them over and take these end caps off just to put them on. Okay, let's try again. Okay, this one is first because it is the snare stand. It does not have another clamp on the other end to hold a pole on the end because it is just the snare stand, so it doesn't have a stand. We're just going to put it there for now, fold it in so it's just out of my way. And then we need one of these. I don't believe it matters which one. It doesn't say specifically, so I assume that these are ambidextrous. Oh, let's actually get the let's get a pole in there first before worrying about the other side. Come back. Let's get this tightened so that it doesn't move. I just haven't tightened this side yet, so that's gonna wobble still. Okay, this one goes in the middle still, so I gotta put this one on now. Come on, there we go. This pole in. Okay, that seems about level. Okay, so now we have everything in the proper place except for this one, which I now have to reapply. The snare verticality is going to be a bit difficult to adjust with these other tubes, so that might be an issue, but we'll see in a little while. Because then you also have to loosen, so you have to loosen all of these just to move these ones up and then move the snare up. But the other problem is that I believe this is going to affect where your tom height is, so we'll see how that works. Okay, now I need those plastic thingies. Hardware. Okay, so 3 of these are the same, which are for the cymbals, and then this one is for the module. But then what are these for? Because it looks like this clamp goes on that, so I guess it's just for those types of clamps, because then the clamps for the toms and snare are, they're actually molded onto the pads, I'm guessing. Does this actually come loose? Oh, okay, that's an interesting design. So it has a spring in there, and then instead of things coming off so they can lose it, it all just kind of stays together, and then you clamp this onto here, and then you push down on the wing nut, the wing screw, put it back into position, and then you actually, and then it's all in place. That's pretty cool. So now we just need to apply these and do the same thing. Now these ones are not as cool. These ones are just the basic clamps with the drum key heads. So this is going to take me a while to unscrew these. I have to make sure that I place this in the right position. I mean, I could probably just loosen it up and change it, but how cool would it be if I get it right the first time, right? At first I thought that we were screwing just into plastic on this, but this brand they've done very good about putting metal threads on basically everything. Even if it's a plastic part, they put an insert one way or another where the threads are not plastic, because plastic threads are just not a good idea basically ever on anything that will be even semi-frequently unscrewed or moved. But basically anytime it's just bad. You just don't want to do it for the most part. Unless you're really confident in your plastic, but even then, usually you shouldn't be. So one thing that I'm a little confused about is why they put these like plastic protector rings on the bars if these cymbal stand clamps don't have them anyway. It's just a strange decision to me, but I don't know, we'll see how it works. I haven't gotten to try it out yet, so I don't know if it's even a downside or not. I just don't understand why they did it that way. So now we have finally completed step 1. The next step is to add the cymbal stands to the clamps. Are any of these different? They all look the same as far as I can tell. They don't specify on the thing, so we should be able to just put these in. We're going to put this one up high as it can go. Hopefully it's not getting too in the way of the shot. It's pretty skinny. They feel nice though. Okay, so they need to stick outwards because they curve inward, which is what you want. So this one has to be changed as well. Okay, step 2. Well, I guess it's also part of step 1. Step 2 is to apply the pads. And apparently there is a right way to apply them. The hole should be, of these holders, should be away from the screw of this, which I got very lucky with this one. I did not know that. They probably should have explained that, first of all, in the other thing, since they had you apply this clamp right here to one of these, I don't know what to call them. They're like protector rings or whatever. So now we need the drum pads. So let's open up this big one first. I assume this would be our snare, maybe. Okay, we have one pad in here, and then it's protected very well in a kind of molded foam. Maybe not molded foam, but it's got nice cutouts, just, you know, made right for the product. Hopefully one of these cameras gets a good shot. This instruction kit shows that the way they do their instructions sometimes is a little weird because they kind of group some kits together because they have some variants of like pro versions. So I believe I have been given the quote-unquote basic version of this kit. So all of the toms will be the same size. On the pro version, you get a little bit bigger of a snare, which I believe, I don't know if the rims work the same way, but I think on the premium one, you can do cross sticking, which allows you to get like this clicky noise with your stick. I'm not sure if you can do that with this one. I'll have to try it out. So now we have this wide box labeled drum pad. Let's finally see what's going on here. Huh. Okay, so I got 3 of these blue ones. I don't know if these are like prototype units or something like that, because my last drum here looks different. It has the same blue bottom molding, however it does have a rubber rim, so maybe you can still do the cross-sticking and stuff. It also has an actual Hampback branded mesh head. The other ones are more plain, so that's just a bit strange to me. I thought that all of them would be the same, but alright. And of course they all come in protective padding, protective plastic. I'm not distracted. This box only had this piece of foam between them, which isn't a lot, but, you know, it seems like it got the job done. So let's get this stuff going on here. They also had a kind of, they also kind of messed up on the branding on this one. They have the print vertical with or parallel with the clamp. However, the clamp makes you put the drum on sideways compared to how the text is. So I just find that to be a little bit funny. Small branding kink to work out, I guess. So one thing that I am a little fearful of is the rims on this kit. I think I end up hitting my rims a lot on my acoustic kit, so I hope that this plastic can actually withstand being whacked, because I will probably end up whacking the rims a bit. That's just the fact of it. One interesting thing is that I don't know if you can get replacement mesh heads for electric drums, but this kit has, at least these drums, they have tuning keys, which obviously you can't tune. Well, you could, but there's not really a point to tuning as far as I know an electric drum unless they implement it for some reason somehow. So I don't know if you can take the heads off and replace the heads or something, or if they're just there for looks. Let's try and move this over. It's a little close to the other toms, which is fine. It's just that I think that the floor tom should be a little farther away due to the realism aspect of it. I like to set my drums up for trying to be realistic, closer to an acoustic kit rather than taking advantage of all the little things you can do. You can get things a lot tighter in an electric kit, because obviously you don't need to have huge drums to get huge sounds. So now the toms are on there. Step 3 is to add the cymbals, cymbal pad. Let's check these out. Ooh, these are beefy. So we got a big ring on the bottom here. And then there is a 50-50 split of cymbal here. I'm not quite sure which side you're actually supposed to hit. If there's a side that you're not supposed to hit. I don't know if you can hit this entire thing. This side looks shinier, so maybe you're not supposed to hit that, but it also has a rubber coating, maybe a thinner one. Okay, I figured it out. You're supposed to hit this the bottom side, because this is where the pinching part is, because this actually has choking for cymbals available. Okay, so they applied all the parts on these already. They have a diagram of how these stuff is supposed to go together, except for they don't show this little rubber piece. So I'm not for sure if that's supposed to stay on the bottom. It doesn't show it on the stand, but I would assume that it has to go there because this other stuff goes on top of the cymbal. Okay, then we put the felt on there. Does this work? Seems like it's too high. Okay, now that's actually working. Let me get you a different angle on this camera. So we have our hi-hat applied. So as far as I can tell, you have to take everything off because there is 3 parts. There is the actual fastener screw up here. Then there is the felt that goes on. Let me get another cymbal out. This one comes with 2 in the box, and they are pretty much just protecting themselves because they're butt to butt with these this somewhat rubberized big round piece. They have this rubberized protection inside here as well. Pretty much everything on this is rubber on the outer side, except for that. But this protects the cymbal on these rounded pieces here. So it's somewhat proprietary again. Hopefully they'll have replacement cymbals for this kit as well. Though I'm sure you probably could use other branded cymbals with this kit. It might be a little more difficult. It might not, fit exactly smoothly. But yeah, basically you just put the cymbal on the stand, then you put this rubber gasket thingy, and then you put the screw and felt on there, and then you're done. I'm not sure what the rubber gasket thing is doing for sure, but it's on there. Okay, that seems pretty tight. Okay, give it a little more room. You don't want to over tighten your cymbals. I'm not sure about e-cymbals as much, but on actual cymbals, if you tighten it down too hard, you're stopping the cymbal from being able to actually move. So doing that causes cracks in the center hole of your cymbal, the stand hole, due to it wanting to flex and just not being able to. Okay, now we got the cymbals on. Step 3, they say, is to set up their actual drum pedal. So the first thing we're going to do is set up the pad here. Try and get this out of the plastic. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to set the pad right here. This pad has Velcro on the back, so that's nice. It also has the spikes for also, digging into the carpet and trying to keep it in place. The next thing I need is the actual pedal, which, so here that is. That's interesting. Okay, so one problem with my pedal here is that I believe that this middle wire thing is supposed to go into these holes, but it's just not wide enough to actually stay in the holes for some reason. I am a little confused by that. I will try to make it work. I don't know if it's actually going to affect the playability. We need to actually apply, before we put the beater on, we need to apply it to the pad first. So there's a little hook clamper right here. Ooh, that is tight. Maybe that's because I'm not supposed to touch that one. This is the one I'm supposed to touch. Is back here there's a little wing nut screw. Up here there's like this grub screw thing that you don't want to touch that, apparently, as far as I can tell. So then you just stick this bar in there, and then you tighten that little wing nut so that the pedal does not move away from the actual pad. Looks about right. I'm checking to make sure that I can get the kick pedal beater centered on the pad to get the best sound, or whatever, the most impulse, because I was checking to make sure, side to side it was correct, which it looked relatively good. And then verticality is going to be reliant on this upper portion right here. So right now this is where you make sure that this can actually go in the right spot. That looks pretty good. So just gonna finger tighten that. Now we're gonna tighten it more with the thing to make sure that doesn't move. It just moved. Alright. One thing that's interesting is that this pad is mesh, but it's got like this nice, like, tough material underneath the mesh, I think, which is an interesting choice. I haven't seen that. I haven't gotten to see an extensive amount of electric drums, but I never have really seen them like this, because usually a majority of them go with the same design where it's just the same mesh as on one of your normal pads, as far as I've seen, unless it's a rubber kick pad, where it just has a big, thick slab of rubber on there, and that's what's getting beaten against. So it looks like, even though my my little wires here are not fully attached, it looks like it should stay in place relatively well. One thing I need to check is on the actual pedal. The actual pedal does not have Velcro, which is slightly disappointing. I was hoping that their kick pedal would have Velcro. I guess it doesn't matter because in both scenarios the drum is moving. But anyway, so now we have the kick pedal set up. The actual pedal portion can move around a bit, which is, I'm gonna have to ask them about that. We'll see if that's intentional or not. I need the next step. Step 4 is to apply the module. Very sleek, very nice. The buttons feel really good. So once again, they put the in-out facing to, I just got really distracted for a second because this actually has expandability. So your main stuff goes to the snake or the squid, whatever they call it. But there's also 2 more jacks to send signal. You can either have a second crash or a second tom, or you can have both if you plug them both in. But that was really distracting because usually drum kits are just stuck the way they are, at least when they have a squid. So that's really cool actually, because I was gonna say is that I personally really like to have 2 crash cymbals, so I was a little disappointed when this didn't come with it. However, now I know that it's a possibility. That actually makes it way better personally. And you can also have another tom, which is cool. So on the instructions, it says that you can unscrew the back panel on the module, but I don't know why you would do that. We're just going to put this on here for now. Alright, I need to scoot this thing over because it is too close to the... Also, I gotta loosen this up so that I get this clamp on the right spot, because they told me a little later than they should have about putting the wing nut part not on the gap, and mine was like right next to it. I can't even get it to actually... There we go. So now I fixed that. I also have to push it over. Oh boy. I still don't know what the point of these things are. I think I still got this too close to the... Okay. Just put this like on the opposite side. There. Now there should be no way that I can hit it. Okay, now I apply the module here. I gotta tighten the wing nut behind it. The wing nut was a little close to the actual poles, but I still managed to get it done. It was only a little bit close. Okay, so now the module's applied, and I think that the last step is just to actually plug in everything with the Squid. Step 5. Also, it says to plug in the AC adapter. Then it also talks a little bit about the adjustments on the kick pad, and then it tells you all the sounds that you can get with your pads and other stuff. Alright, cool. I don't think they ever told me to take this out, but I'm going to now. Maybe they did and I just missed it because there's very generalized pictures. But yeah, this thing it's very interesting and nice. This does not have Velcro, but the rubber does feel very nice and the grip does feel like it's going to be pretty grippy no matter what. We'll see. Another thing that's really cool about the pedals here is that there are these little like they're the toe stoppers up here. That's just a nice little touch to me, even though it probably won't matter because I think I'm usually farther back on the pedal anyway. But we'll see how that works out too. So now we gotta finish off what's in the kit here, which is just the snake and the actual AC adapter, which it is an AC adapter, unlike the other kit, which was a USB-C connection. Which was kind of nice, but maybe this thing takes more power for some reason, so it actually does need a proper AC adapter. I don't know. Either way, it's Squid time. This Squid definitely feels beefier compared to the other kit's Squid, but I think this one's also like 150% or double the price. Let's just start by getting this into the panel here. I gotta get behind here to actually do this because it's too hard to see and maneuver from the front here. Okay. Maybe I needed to unscrew these the end screws first to make it give it a little more room or something. So they aren't actually blocking it from inserting into the slot. There we go. Now I got fully inserted. Now I tighten the screws in. So now the funnest part, the cable management. Hi-hat pedal, that's an easy one. They have once again chosen to put the jack on the bottom inside here, which it's a little more out of the way than the other kit. And on the other kit, it wasn't a big deal either. It's just a bit of a strange choice to me still. This is for the ride. We're just gonna plug it in for now, get them routed roughly, and then we'll try and clean it up afterwards. This is Tom 2. This is kick. Tom 3. Hi-hat. Snare, crash, and Tom 1. Alright, so now we have all of our connections actually made. Let's try and actually cable manage this stuff. Is this? Okay, so I've gotten most of the cables, I've gotten all of the cables actually managed, and now I am just going to finish it off with only one cable tie needed, and it's not even really needed. I'm just going to put it here to make sure that this stuff does not wander off on me in this little corner here that you probably can't see on either of the cameras. It's just going to keep a bunch of the wires put together. Okay, so that was the complete setup of the Hampback 301 ACE drum kit. So first impressions of the quality is it feels very nice all over the place. If I had tightened down this thing, the frame still seems like it would be pretty firm, even though despite it looking very flimsy because of how skinny it is, it actually seems like it would be fairly firm. Yeah, and then the overall feel of everything that I've handled today has been very nice. So I am excited to be able to work more with this drum set, and the setup was a little bit. It was difficult at first because the instructions are a little too vague, but after getting past the rack setup and doing it properly, it went by pretty fast. It wasn't very difficult, it just is a little bit of tedious stuff with screwing things into the right places. So that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like. And if you're considering buying this drum kit, I should have an affiliate link down in the description. Please use that if you are considering purchasing this drum kit. I should have more content coming out about this kit soon. But for now, all I have to say is bye-bye.